So first, I would like to apologize on behalf of all the debaters today for confusing the audience with a different claim. But in conclusion, what I'd like to say is that ultimately all of this boils down to the conclusion that stricter laws need to be enforced in the political campaign financing system, and that current laws right now are detrimental and harmful. Current campaign laws are the further perpetuation of corruption and are going against democratic interests and equality, and this is according to Freedom versus Equality in the Campaign Finance Reform of Gene A. And my opponents bring up the issue that it is unconstitutional, and that's that. But the bigger issue here is restoring equality to a system that is unfairly favoring the wealthy. Now, because without such regulation, the wealthier candidate can afford the bigger megaphone, and because of this, he has an unfair advantage. And the reform that we're buttressing for equalizes the megaphone size to all of the candidates. Expert Jane McGraw states on limited speech, on freedom of speech, is that reform does more good than harm, and that there are limits on free speech. You cannot yell fire in a crowded movie theater if there is no fire, so doesn't a campaign's susceptibility to corruption override the right to free speech. So we can see that the corruption in the current system right now overrides the right to free speech because of the limits on free speech that there is. Also, Senator John McCain stated in the retro report, he said that if money is free speech, then the wealthiest people in America are those that get to speak the most freely. And we can see that just the claim of the current system's that is correct right now, and the reason behind that is because it's unconstitutional, is completely outweighed by the fact that we do need equality, and that the benefits and the weight of the benefits of getting a more stricter law enforced in public financing outweighs the need for freedom of speech and the corruption that is occurring. My opponents also mentioned that Bernie Sanders, and he's saying that he hates PACs and he's also taking money, but this is exactly why we need stricter regulation, because we need to, with stricter regulation, we're going to be able to know where the money is coming from and where it's going to be spent. My opponents also bring up he said that he couldn't make sense of the publicly funded campaigns and how it's funded, but according to Chief Analyst of the Office of Legislative Research, he states that there are many alternatives other than taxes to pay for publicly financial elections, and the states have a variety of methods to fund public financing programs such as legislative appropriations, volunteer contributions, lobbyist and candidate filing fees, corporation filing fees, and election law violation penalties and fine and interest on the public fund. So we can see that there are other ways than just the $5 that we mentioned. And in conclusion, I'd just like to say that my opponent just really does not favor the idea of a public funded election, because he just says he doesn't understand it. But as we can see in the state of Arizona, where they did pass the act of publicly funded elections, they said that it restored citizen participation and confidence in our political system. So therefore, we urge you to vote for the affirmation side. Thank you.